Hello, folks. Welcome back to Earworms. This is edition 7, and tonight we have a real treat. We're going to be doing our first episode with a guest artist by the name of Mike Gourley, who is a player of many interesting and exotic instruments: sitar, dutar, Native American flute, and a variety of other things. He's a bit of a maker, not only of music, but he started making some of his own cigar box guitars, and he's a writer of music as well as performer. And so we're going to have full permission to listen to some beautiful music tonight, which is a nice change of pace all the way through. And we get to speak to the gentleman and find out more about these cool instruments, how they're played, how they work, and all that fun learning stuff. So I am going to introduce our regular panel. First of all, Mr. Jay Goodwin.
All right, I've been ready for this episode. Let's go.
All right, and of course, Adam Gray from B-Roll Stage.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
And it's always a pleasure having you gentlemen join me, and I hope tonight we get to experience more freedoms than we normally do with YouTube and copyright.
Circumventing them, I think.
Well, we don't have to circumvent tonight. All this music, hey, we have the person that wrote it. And in addition to it, it shouldn't be on YouTube's radar because it's already there. He uploaded it and didn't put it through any kind of content ID tracking or anything. So we're feeling really good about that. So ladies and gentlemen, in the viewing audience, whether you're live or on video, please meet Mr. Mike Gourley.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Thanks
there,
for
Mike.
having me.
Hey, Mike.
Hello, hello.
So anyway, I met Mike.
So you're going to play my music, really?
Yeah.
We're certainly not paying mine.
Well, I guess so.
So
Weren't we
met.
talking about sarcasm a minute ago?
I've never heard of the word. What does it mean?
Well, I believe attitude is everything, so I brought mine today.
All right, good. We're in good company. Thank you for having me, Lawrence.
All right. It's a pleasure. I met Mike on YouTube, and so far it's just a virtual communication. And basically, he dropped by my channel, left a comment on one of my videos, and I just checked out his channel, and I was feeling nostalgic for when I used to. Well, I still do occasionally, but in the 90s, the mid-90s, I was really into some of the Native American music that was coming out at the time. It had always been around, but it was popular then because of, basically like the New Age movement and so forth, and also a sincere interest in learning more about the music. And, of course, at that time, there was a lot of world music, and I was really into that. And so when I was hearing his music, or your music, Mike, since you're with us, I was, just kind of, I just haven't heard anything like that for a good long time. And so it was a real treat to hear. And the passion with which you play the instruments, the quality of the music, and I could just tell from one piece to another that it's like you really enjoy what you do. And I was just noticing, wow, he's playing another instrument in this one. What instrument does he play? And because I was like, wait a minute, I thought he was he's a guitarist. No, what? No, hold on. So anyway, Mike, is there anything you'd like to say to kind of at least let the audience know, I guess, a little bit more about you? I guess a good question would be is, why are you doing this?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, let me follow up on what you said there because um, I know I only look 19, but I am 63. I was born in 1960, so I grew up listening to, you know, the Beatles and Ravi Shankar that George Harrison was into. So I've liked Indian music for a long, long time, and but I really didn't start getting into this stuff until about 6, 7 years ago. I played guitar my whole life, and for a long, long time, I played hard rock, Black Sabbath, stuff like that when I was a teenager, and then I kind of went a little mellower and got into the Grateful Dead and went through that. But I did coffee shops and I dragged my acoustic guitar down and I wrote some songs of my own too with lyrics and all that. So kind of a whole different path, but I never considered myself a lead guitarist or tried to do any of that or learn scales. I mainly played chords and strummed for the most part. So some 6, 7 years ago, I decided that, well, maybe I'm better than I think. I don't know. And I've never been fast, and I'm not fast on anything really. So, and I always remembered years ago hearing David Gilmour, a Pink Floyd interview. He said, he goes, I knew I wasn't fast, so I developed my own style. So I kind of went along that premise of, okay, I don't want to be like someone else, or I'm not trying to be this guy. So I kind of abandoned trying to learn any songs or anything like that and kind of went my own way. And I watched a guy, I'll plug his channel, Bill Venzel. He has a channel, it's Chords of Orion. He does ambient music. He does pedal reviews, but he also does lessons, so to speak. He'll show different things. And I started watching that and I thought, wow, this ambient stuff is really cool. So I kind of went down that path. And then I done some synthesizer stuff like that. And of course, now we have DAWs and plugins and all this lovely stuff that we have. So, but in 2019, I came across this band, Consider the Source. And I listened to a couple, they were on Live Music Archive. It's a website that has all kinds of live bands that allow taping of their shows. So I saw this Consider the Source. I thought, that's an interesting name. I got to check this out. So I did. And then I watched this video, Ninjanuity. I'll have to put it in the links or something.
I can do that afterwards so that people see this on the rewind. They'll be able to check out the links.
It just totally blew me away. The guy who plays guitar, Gabriel Marin, plays a double neck guitar. One is fretless and the other is fretted. And he's very into Indian Carnatic music, which is South Indian music. North Indian would be like Hindustani, the Ravi Shankar, sitar. South Indian would be like the Veena and other things. But anyway, it's basically sliding, but with your fingers, not a slide like traditional slide guitar. And you watch this guy and he's just incredible. He's up and down and all over. But he also plays the dutar and dombra. So I listened to a couple things that they had done with that, and I really liked it. And I shot him an email on their website, and I said, hey, would you teach a beginner? And he replied back, he said, well, in this country, everyone's a beginner. So he said, you're in a small little elite class of people. There's not many people that ever even heard of these. So that started that adventure. So it's been one thing after another with all that. But I mean, it relatively started in my, mid 50s. So anyone out there thinking, oh, it's too late. I don't think so. Not too late.
That's great. I think what we'll do is actually start hearing a little bit of music so people can hear things, and see an instrument, and then we can talk about them more individually.
Okay.
as we go along. I think that will help our audience get to know you and your music better. And ever since I dropped out and came back into StreamYard, the slides disappeared on me. So let me just grab that up.
I will say this while you're doing that, since I play Native American style flute and I am dark complected, I am not Native American. So I do not claim to play this with any Native authority or anything like that. So just thought I'd throw that disclaimer out.
Well, I guess that's always good to do this day and age, but you know what? The beauty and the feeling you put into it, I think, speaks for itself.
Well, thank you.
Before we hear the first song, let's look at your logo here. This is a new logo. You used to use like a picture of a waterfall, I believe, and now...
I love this logo.
Tell me the story behind this.
Well, the story behind it is that, let's see, I should be able to. No, I don't want to do that. I thought I could. Isn't there a way to just put it up? Well, you put it up, I guess. I was going to say I have it. Anyway,
Well,
the story
it's
is
right here on screen.
Yeah, the story behind it is, well, I started watching this thing on YouTube called Earworms, and everybody had an avatar. I thought, well, that's pretty cool. What avatar should I have? And I got to looking around, and I really couldn't find anything I liked. And oddly enough, I found this on Etsy. I think it cost me like $2 or $3. I don't know, but I saw this, and I love cats, obviously. So we have 3 of them. But yeah, anyway, so I saw that playing the guitar, and I thought, well, that's pretty wicked.
That's amazing. I love it.
Excuse me. I'll go with that. So you
That's
guys
cool.
corrupted me.
Well, I'm good with that.
Yeah, there you go.
I've been accused of that once or twice before.
Well, you know.
Okay, so our first piece here. Oh, that's right. I have the title in the slides. And here we go. This will be the first piece that I'm playing for everybody. It's called Coming Into Being. I think we'll play it because we've been going here for a while just talking, and I think it's great to hear some sound. So we'll hear it, and then we'll talk about it right after.
was on auto repeat.
Did I?
We're on auto repeat.
Oh, okay. All right. I was like, wait a minute. Maybe that's the recapitulation. Okay, so I am going to switch us back to...
Oh, I think Mike's breaking out his...
I forgot my audio was on.
No.
Whoops.
Don't worry.
Come
It
back
wouldn't
and
be
go,
earworms without audio problems. In fact,
forgot to mute it.
I guess I
put
had the
myself
audio
off
a little
screen
hot
to go
there.
get it. As you can see, it's big.
Oh, wait a minute. I should be putting you on priority if I can.
Indeed.
If I can. I think we can. Oh, boy. Well, I think that's about as good as I'm going to get. So, Jay, Adam, I'm going to let you guys ask any questions or...
Oh, so the instrument itself. I mean, you have the resonating underlying sound, right? You know, and it almost sounds like an old resonator style guitar with the metal resonator in it to give it that twang. What is my understanding? There are actual strings within the instrument that provide some of the resonation for that, right?
Well, I'm stuck. There we go. And by the way, I put the green screen up behind me so people could see this is how I do this and put all the psychedelic stuff in the background.
Mm-hmm.
I put a green screen up, and you
Right.
can notice, because me and Lawrence were talking about this yesterday, I scoot way back. This instrument is so big. That's why I'm playing like this.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it is large.
Otherwise, it's off the screen completely. So I thought I'd demonstrate that. But to answer your question, if you can see down here,
Right.
well, let me go this way. There is a second bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how well this is showing up, but you have what are called sympathetic strings that
Right,
are not
okay.
in tune right now. But so you have your main set, and the sitar is mainly played on the bottom string. And the rest are mainly drone. Now, some of your really greats will play maybe the second string, occasionally the third up, but other than that, they're mainly drone. But the sympathetic strings basically run underneath, and say you're hitting a C note. If one of these is tuned to C, see if I can get it. And I think I'm a little out of tune, but it will ring out below it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I was in tune this afternoon when I brought this out here. It's close, but yeah, I'm hearing some resonating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll leave the other strings alone. I've gone out of tune. But anyway, and yeah, you play with this weird thing that's called a mizrab. It's basically a wire on your finger
Mm-hmm.
that I don't know I guess you get used to it after a while. It's not the most comfortable thing on the planet. But yes, those are called sympathetic strings.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I was. I mean,
They're on a lot of Indian instruments like the sarod, the veena, a lot of stringed instruments.
right. Yeah, and that's a difference between Western instruments. Although we start to get a bit of a similar sound, like what in the teens and 20s when you start to have resonator guitars, and then as we then got more into like world instruments that were beyond just the Western European style, then we started to get them again. Yeah.
Yes, this one actually does have. I'm answering the question on there. There's a plug-in right there. You can plug this one in. This is what's called a custom studio sitar. A lot of your big ones, if you saw Ravi Shankar, someone like that, they have a big gourd down here. And this one does not have that. So the gourd.
Where is it picking it up at?
Huh?
Where does it pick up the
It's got a piezo pickup in it.
Okay, so it's a piezo, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna-
a piezo.
I'm going to try to make you larger here. I'm hoping, yeah, it makes me larger. Let me see if I can put you. No, you can't drag and drop here. Can I put you on priority? Here. No.
Yeah, the problem with there is a guy who over in India that does have an electric sitar that has a pickup on the. But if you do that, you eliminate the sympathetic strings.
Right,
So
right.
It takes a lot away from it. So you almost have to go with that kind of pickup on it.
Or double pickups where you're picking up both your primary strings and your
Yeah,
and your
yeah.
resonance, yeah.
Right.
But then you have to mix it correctly to get the
Yes, you do.
right.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of hard. A lot of times I'll just I think I did with that recording. I found that I'll just record acoustically
Mhm.
and then add the effects later. It seems
Right.
to work out better than if you try to add them, unless you want something that's super weird.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I have a
Yeah.
layman's question because that's pretty much my gig on this show. Um, I've never seen a sitar close up or live. So can you explain? Are those tuning knobs all along the neck?
Yeah, the ones down here are for the sympathetic string.
Oh,
This
okay.
one-
All right.
This one
All right.
actually has this one actually has, well, if I can flip it around, it has geared tuners for the main
Right.
string.
Yeah.
Yeah, he told me I got this off a guy. I believe they're out of it's Rain City Music. I did a lot of research because let me say this: if anyone's out there thinking about buying a sitar, I've wanted one my whole life, and I bought a cheap one off eBay for a couple $100 that I could maybe play in a major key, and that's about it. It was pretty crappy. But a lot of people buy them so they can play Norwegian wood. I did
Well-
not. I actually wanted to play. Now, the one thing I haven't done because I'm afraid to do it is with Indian music, they call them thats, not scales. But some of them match up with Western scales. But in the way the sitar is designed, you'll see this big one right here. The way it's designed, if you wanted to play certain scales, you would have to move the bar.
Mm.
And
Well,
I'm kind of chicken to do that. I can play out of the 12 main thats, I think I can do 5 of them, or I think 5 without moving bars. So I kind of stick to the 5. But
Yeah, I am familiar with the shamisen, and it sounds a very similar. An entry level one for a couple $100 is nice, but if you really want the real authentic sound and an instrument that's going to last, you're going to have to spend
Right.
a lot of cash.
yeah, and I also had not seen one in years. When I was way back in college, they had a guy come, and I got to see him, but I wasn't close enough to really, see the instrument. But these bars, as someone just asked, yeah, you play in between the bars. So it's not frets that are on the actual wood. It's an actual bar, if you can see that. It's an actual bar going across, and you're pressing down on the string in between the bars. And of course, that Indian sound is that bending, or as they call it, mending. So it's a little bit different than what people might be used to. It's a whole different kind of music. That's why I said I haven't gone as far because I play too many instruments. I don't really play too many instruments, but I play so many things to devote the time to learn really how to play this. It would have been good to start about 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's pretty intricate music. But
Yeah. Well, and
learned-
also when you're dealing with a different key scale and chromatic scale, then you kind of have to think differently, to
Yeah.
get it to kind of match up.
Well, in Indian music, they have all the ragas, and they're yeah. I've looked at several of those, and so a lot of it's based on playing ragas. So I kind of do that, and then kind of do my own thing with it. So, which is what I do with everything. I am what I do is improvisation, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, I essentially improv and play whatever comes from the heart.
Yeah, I always had the
Sometimes works out great, and sometimes not, especially when you're sitting out in.
Yeah, the anybody who's like a professional musician or really good with an instrument, and they'll see me mess with it, they're like, "You're doing it wrong." I was like, "No, I'm just trying to get a certain sound out of it. That's all I'm interested in. I'll make it. I'll figure it out. You know."
Yeah, right. Well, and that's why for a long time the proper way of playing this is to have, if you see my thumb up here, and I could not keep my thumb up here for the life of me. And I was like, I know there's a reason why they do that. It basically give you more control. But
right.
I kept lifting my thumb, and I'd be doing, I've seen YouTube videos of people playing with guitar picks and the whole 9 yards. So I may not be able to have the time to dedicate to learn everything intricately, but I at least like to make an effort to be somewhat authentic anyway.
Right.
Well, it's good to know. It's good to know the pure classical method, but there's nothing wrong with running on your own tangent at all.
Oh no, not at all. And the sitar is very popular in like fusion music these days, and it's world music, and with YouTube and everything. That's why I say there's a lot of garbage on YouTube, but there's a lot of really, really good stuff, and we have access to it. So people who say there's no good music anymore, I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, I grew up with Zeppelin and Yes and Floyd and all those, and yeah, they were great bands, but there are some fantastic musicians and fantastic music out there now. I can't keep up with it all.
Yeah, and we have greater access to it than we ever had before.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's right at our fingertips now.
And I'm a big believer in that music really brings people together, and yeah, I think we should just have bands in the White House 24/7 or something. I don't know, just jamming, just outright jamming. Hey, if you can't play an instrument, you can't be president. I'm sorry. You gotta play something.
or at least at the debates, you have to submit your playlist on what is it?
Yeah,
what is it that you listen to most often?
Yeah, if it was like a guitar battle or something,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's just have a guitar battle.
Yeah.
Instead of wars, fight with
the problem is we just get drummers, and nobody wants to hear that. That's
well, there's some pretty good world drummers too, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's just that old punchline though, but that
Oh, I know.
Well, I am going to call up the slides again just because I need to remember which one's next. But thank you for showing us the sitar. I mean, this is awesome because we get to see, hear, and talk about it. And our next piece is Awakening at Dawn. And I don't know if there's anything you want to say beforehand about it, or would you like me to just play it and then we talk about it after?
Yeah, go ahead and play it, and I'll
okay.
Put this monstrosity of an instrument up for the night.
Tuck it in.
Yeah, tuck it in.
Okay, here we go.
Beautiful.
All righty. And I need to get back to this screen to know what I'm doing. So, Mike, what would you like to say about the piece?
Well, this is a rather interesting item, and you can't hardly hear it. Yeah, you really can't hear it very good acoustically, so that's why it has a pickup on it. Yeah, I took one of my friends of the Smokies license plates and just wood that was laying around in the garage and made a build. So, but I did 2 strings, and I wanted to go with basically it's the top 2 strings off the guitar, so it has a very bassy sound. But the tuning that I did with it, and I'll talk more about when we get to the Dahmer and stuff. Gabriel Marin of Consider the Source, but one of the tunings is a unit. He calls it's a unison tuning. So basically, they're both tuned the same. They're just one octave from each other. So that's what that song is. And there is an electric guitar in it. I did actually play a guitar for the higher stuff because this is more bassy. So I just did that kind of bass riff along with it in unison tuning. But I think it sounds pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot like a diddly bow, but with that second octave sound to it, so you can get a little more interesting harmonics with it.
Yeah, and you can see I haven't even finished fretting it. I still have work to do. I got down.
Just slide all the time. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, you know. Well, yeah, this is a slider. This one, it's yeah. I haven't figured. That's the all the builds I've done. I'm getting a little better with each one, but yeah, they mostly been sliders. I can't seem to get the neck up enough and even enough to actually be able to fret anything.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work to get everything parallel enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Personally, I'm in love with the aesthetics of that. I just absolutely 100% love that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I saw that, and Liza turned me on to C.B. Giddy, and I bought his book on what's that thing called, The Poor Man's Guitar or something. But anyway, yeah, I saw that license plate, and I said, I have some of those hanging in the garage, and I have wood. So
I'm 3/4 there.
Yeah, right. All I need is a pickup, and actually, I think I had this bridge, but there you go, and some tuners.
I remember hearing an anecdote about, I think it was Kurt Cobain got a guitar made from the clapboards of, was it Muddy Waters' birth house? I'm sorry, I lost the thread, but anyways, go ahead.
No, I'm liking that. That's pretty cool. I had not heard that story. I did hear that John Entwistle of the Who, his first bass, he pulled out of from, I guess, music stores wherever, but he pulled different parts and made him a bass. So.
Oh yeah, Frankenstein a lot of stuff together when you don't have money.
Yeah, you know, it's amazing back then that I don't know that you could get away with it now. You know, people who didn't know how to play when they started. John Lennon learned how to play a banjo that his auntie had, and when he started playing with Paul McCartney, he got a guitar, but he had it tuned to a banjo. So McCartney taught him how to tune a guitar and how to play chords.
Right.
And the rest is history. So.
Wow.
It was Leadbelly's house.
Oh, Leadbelly. There we go.
So Kurt had a guitar made from Leadbelly's.
Leadbelly. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
House.
I think
That's
I did.
pretty great.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, man, you got to like Leadbelly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Now we're talking things that half the people probably don't know what we're talking about, but that's all right.
I heard the name.
So we're all of a certain age.
Yeah, if you don't know classic blues artists,
Well, you
I
got to
can't
go
help
way
you.
back on that. You got to go way back.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking like Robert Johnson.
Yeah, that's I don't know Robert Johnson. Get out of my house. Get out of my house right now.
Right.
All 26 songs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, yeah, it's a bit before my time, but I've learned them, and used to teach them, because I think the blues is something that a lot of times gets left out of jazz education, as a lot of the jazzers eventually just want to move on to chords and everything like that. But and the blues was really more about feeling, bending of pitch, the blues scale, of course, which I guess wasn't really designed to be a scale, but really color alterations on the major and minor scales, just to adapt them differently. That just came out of pure feeling. And
well, a necessity to some degree, because you couldn't necessarily afford a high end guitar or whatever. You may do with what you did. I mean, there's a reason that, you're a kid, we'll give you a diddly bow first. Well, let's see if you can actually master one string, and if you actually care about it, right? And that the use of those improvised instruments necessarily color what happens when they end up acquiring legit guitars. But you learned on something like a diddly bow, you're going to play guitar very similar to diddly bow, but with more options.
If you could figure out a wash tub bass, when you get handed a real bass, you're good to go.
Right.
all right, so I think we'll be moving on to your next selection here, which I'm going to call up so I know the title. And that is Earth Space.
Me on top of the mountain.
So you hail from Tennessee, right?
I've lived here for since 2009. I grew up in Ohio. My dad was stationed at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Oh, Ohio represent. Yeah, I was born in Akron General Hospital.
Yeah. So I grew up there, and in my mid 40s, I moved out to Utah with the job I had in Ohio, and where I met my now wife. And I lived there for 2.5 years. But I've been coming down the Smoky since like 1996. So
It's a
I
special
fell in love with
place.
the mountains. It is, yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, so that area would be in the Smoky Mountains.
This is off the Blue Ridge Parkway right here,
Hey.
which is hard to find a quiet spot. So I
Yeah,
found
too much traffic.
Yeah, I found a forest. Yeah, I did my little research because hiking is one of my things as well. And I found a Forest Service road that went down a road and about a half a mile to the top of this mountain. But you're about a mile or so from the parkway. So I actually got about a good half-hour jam session. A lot of these videos that you see me outdoors, there's a lot of editing because I have to keep stopping for motorcycles and cars. But this one, I actually got to play straight through. It was kind of nice.
You sneak a no Jake break sign on the parkway before you go running off to do that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're the Dombra is not heavy by any stretch, but I don't like to do long hikes without having backup safety stuff with me and things like that. So I carry a pack. So this was a half a mile, so it was very doable to haul that Dombra up there.
Yeah.
Usually I'll do a lot of flutes on the longer hikes. Like flutes you can put in your backpack.
A little lighter. Yeah, more portable.
Yeah, less space.
Yeah.
So we're doing Earth Space, and okay, so I'm hoping, because it was showing a different thumbnail in my view there, but is this how it begins?
Yep, that looks right.
Okay, because
Earth
I
Space.
didn't see trees. So.
Oh
Here
yeah,
we go.
that's some funky kaleidoscope stuff there.
Yeah, I like fractals too, so man after my own heart.
There you go.
Okay.
Well, I love the rawness of that sound.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
it's
there's
made
a
for nature.
very percussion aspect to how you hit the strings and along with the the resonating lower string that's going on. It's a unique sound.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. And I have two Dombras. I have the one you saw in the video, and then I have this one, which is a little bit different. It's called a flat Abai Dombra, but they're both from Kazakhstan.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to find them at Guitar Center.
I'm shocked.
That was when I started taking lessons with Gabriel. That was one of the things. I had a Dombra on order, and I had to wait a little while. So he taught me a little bit of the Carnatic stuff he does on guitar. But anyway, I'll have to back up. The whole thing is when you're hitting this, if I mute that, you can hear
Right.
you're hitting that wood. It's
Right.
meant to be a percussive instrument. And the thing about it is, you look at it, you think, oh man, 2 strings, man, I could play a 6-string guitar. This is easy peasy. And it's like, no, because the basic thing of all these instruments and is the right hand.
Right.
And I think I'm over. I don't know. I got to scoot the other way. There we go. I was trying to get in the picture. But anyway, yeah, you can do simple, like, just picking stuff. Or simple strumming, or just 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. But then you got 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2. There's all kinds of different tempos that they do. But then and Gabriel does this so much better. I can do it with 2 fingers. He does it with 3, but I don't know if I can get up there where you can. But you're basically just rolling them fingers.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all kinds of right hand stuff. And when we take lessons, I feel like a total idiot half the time. And then I get it after the lesson. It's so funny. But anyway, yeah, I got both of these from a guy in Kazakhstan. But I also
What's his name?
I don't know if I can pronounce it.
Can relate.
That's fair.
I
know a guy.
Anything wrong? I know a guy. No, he's on eBay actually. I could get the link
Really?
put it. Yeah, he's on eBay, which made me a little like I don't know, but I mean they're very good beginner ones. I'm sure if I want to spend more money, but a lot of it. The funny thing is, and Gabriel told me this, you got to be careful. A lot of the ones that are like painted and got all kinds of stuff on them, those are usually the crap ones that people
Right.
You're trying to hide the woodwork on it.
I mean, a little bit. You saw the other Dombra had some, and that's more traditional. This is, and you can see, this broke. I got it out. It's a 2-string. It is a dutar, and you can see it's way
Oh
longer.
Lord!
Wow. That's a big one.
This I actually got from Gabriel. And good golly, I could post a lot of links tomorrow. But there's a song called 100,000 Fools that Consider the Source does, and he plays this. But the interesting thing is, this is a silk string. So this one has nylon strings, but it has I can play 1 string. You can hear that. It's lacking a lot without the 2nd string, but it has a very different sound to it.
Right.
So
I have a maybe an odd question.
yeah.
Are these instruments fairly durable in terms of like humidity and storage? Do you have to take any special precautions to keep them in
No, not really. I mean, they are pretty lightweight. This one has a bit of a crack forming in it. So, but it hasn't gotten any worse, thank God. But, and it's really small. But no, not really. They're very lightweight.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if I can find it, I have a Persian dutar I got off him about a year or so. Well, it's been closer to 2 years now. Anyway, he was he put out a solo CD, and he was doing a solo show down in North Carolina. And there it is. If I get out of the way, whoop, wrong way. I keep going the wrong way. That is a Persian dutar. And
Noticeably shorter neck.
Yeah, it's way shorter. So that goes to show you how different they are. And yeah, I got that off of him. We met up in Columbus, Ohio at one of their shows.
Ah.
Now that, unlike the one I just showed you with the silk strings, that has steel strings on it.
Mm.
So it's a completely different and shorter. I love it though. He when I went to see him do this show, I always get there way early and hang out a little bit. And he was warming up, and he had that one and a Turkish dutar. And I asked him, I said, well, what are those dutars? And he said, oh, that one's a Persian, that's a Turkish one. And he picked that one up, and he said, you want to play it? And I said, yeah. So, he was,
how?
But anyway, when I got done, and I handed it back to him, I said, if you ever sell that, I want it. And earlier last year in 2023, he was in Turkey, and he bought him another one.
Mm-hmm.
So he sent me an email and said, you are now the owner of a Persian dutar. So I said, yay.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So the Dumbro, given the the intentional striking of the wood or whatever, again, because this goes back to like my understanding of instruments, that again reminds me a bit of the diddley bow, where the idea is to be percussive with the body because you only have the one string. And so is the Dumbro is similar in that, right? That part of the playing is the percussive on the body.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, my only reference is a shamisen, but it seems very similar.
Yeah, it's very percussive and meant to be percussive.
Right.
And then the last time he was over in Turkey earlier this year, he was playing you may be more familiar with the saz that typically is seven strings,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of like your 12-string guitar. It's 3 sets of strings, so it's 2, 2, and 3. The bottom usually has 3, but he was playing one, I guess one of the oldest sazes, and again, there's all kinds of different sazes, but he was playing one with 3 strings, and I said, well, that's really interesting, and I liked what he was doing because you could do that more of that percussive thing than you can with 7 strings. So I said, well, I have a short neck saz, and I turned it into a 3-string based on Gabriel. So now I can do more of that percussive thing. If I
Right.
hear it. So and do more of the Dahmer stuff. So I just started like last week doing lessons on that. But other than that, this has been hanging most of the time. I piddle around on it now and then, but
Right.
I was hesitant to ask him because I thought, my God, I'm already learning Dahmer and dutar and 50 million other things that I play. So
Does it have strings? Oh, I'll learn that. Okay.
yeah, I had somebody say that once. If it has strings. Now, you notice, though, I do not do bowed instruments.
Right. Yeah.
Now,
Well, that's an added complication. Again, do fingers touch strings? Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Bow?
Yeah, I'm feeling good about the I mean, really, honestly, I haven't really tried, so I don't know, but maybe one day. But I think I've got enough going on it.
Yeah, I think you can find enough stringed instruments where you actually have to use fingers that
Well,
you
I've
can.
actually been trying, since I do a lot of, synthesizer stuff on the videos in the background, I've actually, kind of tried to better my skills at that a little bit over the last year as well. So there you go.
Well, speaking of synthesizers, the next piece, I believe, is Cosmic Giggles,
Oh
which
my, yes.
is when I first started listening to Mike's music, as we started communicating, it was Flute, which we haven't heard yet, but it's coming up, and dutar, and maybe one or two other string instruments. And then he said, all right, I did, about maybe 2 seasons of my VCV rack series. And he decided he was going to, make some music with it, and he put it out. And when I started playing it, it was completely different than anything that I've heard from him so far. And it was
Very serious piece.
Well, you're about to behold it. So I'm hitting the wrong keys on everything here. So basically, just think, all you've known is, well, all that the audience knows is the music they've heard so far. So imagine that, and then you encounter this. Okay, folks. I will say I've been there a few times.
Oh yeah.
That's a familiar neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
All righty. So
I'm not going to comment on the video because those smears may have been my own creation.
Thank you for the flashbacks. Not a problem.
You know what my joke is? I said, I haven't done anything like that in about 40 years. And, you know, they used to say, oh, yeah, you might have flashbacks. I feel cheated. I haven't.
Yeah.
That's what my joke is. I'm like, where's these flashbacks they promised?
Yeah, these must be defective, for God's sakes. They only worked once. These are one time only.
You know.
Well, I don't know.
I don't have the full energy for a real psychonaut experience anymore, but I've definitely been there.
Well, for me, it was my only exposure that thus far. Well, when I first beheld this piece was just Mike in the woods playing a flute or a dutar or something, and then all of a sudden it was like,
yeah, I've done
this,
a few.
and it was.
Well, yeah, we talked about this, and I talked with Liza about it via emails, and this thing, chaotic inception, came into my brain because I thought, well, you know, this is way different than some of the other stuff I'm doing, but I'd like to pursue it. So I thought, well, how do I pursue this? And so I kind of just and I am eventually. I've got a few songs. I'm eventually going to put it all together in, you know, one release and put it out there. But I went with, that's why it's instead of Mike Mountain Hawk Gourley, which would be my meditative stuff, it's Mike Gourley's Chaotic Inception. And sometimes things I do, because I often, if I'm in my DAW, accidents happen. So I record and I never throw stuff away. So I think I had like over 300 recordings last year, and I'm probably on track this year. So yeah. Sometimes I sit down and, and some of them are crap. I mean,
Well, you go with the Bob Ross school of digital audio workstation. There's happy accidents.
right. Yeah, exactly. And it happens all the time. So,
Yeah.
but sometimes I'll sit down and in my brain, I'm thinking meditative and calm and relaxing. And it comes out all this psychotic, weird, crazy stuff. And I think it's called electronic music, but they have so many genres today, I can't keep up with it. But I call it chaos music. So chaotic inception came to my brain, and I thought that sounds cool. So there we are.
I've been involved in both some chaotic inceptions and conceptions, and now that I think about it, at least a couple of times.
But this piece has an incredible, because thankfully me and Lawrence talked ahead of time, so I was able to because I thought, well, people might want to know what was in some of these, but this thing had 20 tracks.
Oh, I believe it.
Everything, not necessarily all playing at once, but I mean,
no, that's totally reasonable for what you produced.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's the Persian dutar is in there. A couple flutes are in there. The guitar and all kinds of synth stuff, and then of course the giggles. But it was the green screen stuff. I mean, as you can see, I pretty much threw everything into that.
Yes.
I like you peeking around the corner there.
Yeah, little gunshots every once in a while. Okay.
Yeah. That was just being me being totally off the wall.
Yeah, I think the thing that at first I was like, okay, I'm gonna lay back and see what's going on or whatever, and I think about, I don't know, a third or halfway through, I was like, man, this is really reminding me of something, and I hope it's not a flashback. And then I realized it was, if you've ever seen the movie Dead Man with Johnny Depp, that was so it's oh god,
who did it.
It's the guitar player from Crosby, Stills, Nash, Neil Young.
Oh,
so Neil Young just basically watched the movie and like freeform played along with it, right? But there's a very, it's Old West. This guy who goes and it gets psychedelic pretty quick. And
Johnny Depp.
Yeah, well, yes, of course it is. And eventually it's he died, and so his Indian guide is nobody. And it goes through, but yeah, I was like, oh, that's I'm definitely getting that feel.
Mostly, I just want his plaid suit.
Dead Man, what?
Dead Man. No, it's just Dead Man.
2 words.
Okay.
Yep, with Johnny Depp.
Absolutely.
I think it was 1995.
Yeah, very worthwhile to sit down and meditate on.
Yeah.
It amazes me what I've missed at times, but I don't watch a lot of TV, or I never was a big movie goer, but every now and then somebody will tell me about something and I'll go back and watch it. Likewise with music. I mean, I'll come across some band and it's like they were from the 80s or 90s. And I'm like, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I missed them. How?
Yeah.
All right. I'll do that again.
The Source has actually been around for more than a decade. And I didn't, I just happened to be leafing through Live Music Archive. And so, but I kind of believe that things come to you when you're supposed to get them.
I firmly believe that also.
Absolutely.
Well, there was definitely some synchronicity in meeting up with Mike. I believe that.
Absolutely.
You were both
Hooray.
listening to the Police?
Oh, God. Show yourself out, Jay.
Simultaneously being arrested. No, I'm just kidding.
Been there
No,
too.
I came across his series on VCV Rack. I was exploring that and came across his series, and I finally did make it through it. I had a little pause in between, but that's how we met.
Both his series and then Psyche's series, or her channel, and watching a lot of that. I know Princess Fiona just went absolutely mad watching Psyche's channel because she's also a musician, and by the way, she's a PhD in physics, but also builds her own instruments and all that. And so she was eating it up.
Yeah,
Well,
she's a sound guru, I guess, or aficionado is not the right word. She's
Expert.
That covers it. That covers
But
it.
it's a perfect lead in to the next
A Jedi.
song he's playing. But yeah, I forget exactly when, but at some point in mine and Lawrence's online dialogues, he said, "Oh yeah, my wife makes cigar box guitars," and I checked out her channel. So yes, I'm very familiar with the very interesting stuff she does with the whole opera thing. Because at first I heard opera and I was like, well, I'm not really a big fan of opera.
I'm going to need to gain some weight, for God's sakes.
Yeah, it's like Twilight Zone opera, I guess. I don't know, but it's really cool. And then, of course,
I would watch that.
Box guitars.
Well, in Miami, Liza basically founded her own opera company called Psyche Electro Acoustic Opera, and we did some performances. And we'll be getting back to performing again. We're still, 3 years into living in rural North Florida, still trying to plan that out. It's a little different music scene up here.
It's not the hotbed of psychotic.
Well, psychotic, maybe. Yeah, I might give you psychotic. Okay.
Who doesn't love a Kid Rock tribute band?
Yeah.
We do have some retirees up here that are tripping out a little bit.
Who doesn't love the Twilight Zone?
Could use a little bit of Perry Como in there if you can mix that in. Okay, I will.
Well, actually,
I can at least croon, for God's sake.
All right, so we're going to share in and out here. There we go.
Very beautiful.
That is
Thank
it took me just a little bit to kind of like set the, it was like, okay, this sounds like a couple of things that I'm trying to figure out what the mashup is or whatever. And it struck me. It reminds me of U2's Mothers of the Disappeared, but Ry Cooder was playing it.
Huh.
Wow. I'm trying to imagine that.
I just heard it, so you don't have to imagine it.
I
We all
thought,
just heard it. I'm not familiar with a lot of U2 stuff, but I enjoyed what you did there, Mike. That was nice.
Well, thank you. Well, and here was the big challenge of the whole cigar box guitar thing, because I love the blues, but I don't. I'm kind of okay playing it a little bit, and I've messed around with slide, guitar a little bit, but it was like, okay, how am I going to be me with this instrument?
Mm-hmm.
Not try to, be traditional. So essentially I was incorporating a little bit of, once again, back to Gabriel Marin and his influences on me, which is so funny because me and him have talked about it. I don't really play or sound like him by any stretch, but the influences are there.
Right.
So it's like some of the Carnatic playing in using some of the like ragas. Like when he before I got the other instruments and we were messing around on guitar, I said, well, what is that? Is that a scale? And he's like, no, it's a raga. And I'm not even going to try and butcher the name, but again, yeah, a lot of what he plays is influenced by Indian and Middle Eastern type stuff. So anyway, thank you.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about
this lovely
oh, look
cigar
at
box.
that.
And if I take my
Let me
tuner off
enlarge.
the end, she put a hawk on there for me. My my name, I have done some ceremony over the years, and I used to have a teacher in Ohio that actually gave me the name Mountain Hawk. So that is actually a name, not something I made up. But at any rate, and well, it fits me. So I love hawks. I love mountains. So there you go. But yeah, she was nice enough to do this, and it's a beautiful little cigar box guitar.
Yeah, and
she
again,
did for me
an
as
improvised instrument from people that couldn't afford the I'm gonna go get a guitar, but the old wooden cigar boxes, and you do what you do.
But I like the more Carnatic style of. I don't know if you can hear that very well, but
I can hear it.
Yeah,
not very bluesy.
yeah. No, there's a very world music. The chromatic scales that you're operating with, and the tones you're using are much more Indian and Eastern, Asian than it is blues. But same instrument. Again, you can give me the instrument, and I can get the sound that I want out of it somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's what I said. That's why I wondered. I'm like, okay, I'm buying this, but am I gonna make this work with what I do? Because I'm not. Like I said, I'm not the greatest blues player. I love it. I love going and hearing some good blues, and there's a lot of music like that. I'm not. I'm more about the listening.
Yeah, it's the what is the invocation of feeling? You can listen to Muddy Waters, and that sounds nothing like Ry Cooder.
Right.
Still blues, right? But telling a different thing, right?
Yeah.
Howlin' Wolf is going to sound entirely different than Robert Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. People don't. Regular
those
people.
guys are the real McCoy too. I mean, those guys were poor. So,
yeah, people don't realize the
or at least
range of
came from
blues.
it. Yeah, they lived the blues.
Yeah, that was the what's the old joke about when during the 80s when you had all the white people singing the blues. It was like, no, white people don't sing the blues; they give the blues. So stop that. Yeah,
Yeah.
They created the blues,
I
oddly
agree.
enough.
Absolutely. A buddy of mine, when I still lived in Ohio, called me up one day and he said, I got tickets to Anson Funderburg. And I was like, have no idea he was playing a blues bar, but he said he didn't have a car. He said he'd give me a ticket. I said, okay, I'll go. And he came out and did the first song, and he's playing a Strat, just like Stevie Ray Vaughan. Had that Stevie Ray Vaughan feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, yeah, he's pretty good. This could be a good night. And then he had some girl come out and they did kind of a country blues song, and that was But then the third song, and for the most of the rest of the night, this old black guy come walking out in a suit, cigarette dangling out of his mouth, started singing. And I said, now we're doing the blues.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I think it's one thing that you can mimic, because the thing is the blues comes from, I mean, it's a raw emotion, and the thing is that anybody has had moments where it's just you ache with whatever this is, right? But the sounds that like come out of the Delta, I mean, smokestack lightning. You don't if you haven't actually heard an old steam train at 2 a.m. rolling on the tracks, right? You can copy what Howlin' Wolf was done, but you don't understand it, and you don't understand it deep in your bones. Like that's a thing that may aid in me getting out of this place.
It's very easy to cosplay the blues and use the chords,
right?
But you cannot fake the passion and the heartache and the starvation and the alcoholism.
No, not at all.
Well, or don't try and steal the sound of the train if you ain't ever grown up near the train tracks and heard this and said, "Man, I wish this train would take me away."
Zeppelin gets a pass, but that's about it.
Yeah, but even then, they're like, we know where it comes from. We're giving credit. We'll just electrify it.
It's
have some
updated,
of that.
yeah.
Right, but the thing is that there's like Mike has been talking about, make it your own. When you have pain, then know the things in your life that give you pain and draw on that as an influence. Don't crib your homework off of somebody else.
Yeah, you can't copy Billie Holiday because you haven't lived through what she's lived through.
Right, and nobody else in the era could do Billie Holiday.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and some people can do it, but I'm sure you're familiar with the old Jefferson Airplane.
Yeah.
But you may or may not be familiar. The guitar player and the bass player, Jorma Kaukonen and Jack Cassidy, formed a band back when Jefferson Airplane was still playing called Hot Tuna.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're very bluesy, and they played electric and acoustic. But Jorma, I don't know how many times I've heard him say throughout the years, because he plays all these old Robert Johnson, all these blues classics. He always tells people to go listen to the original. He goes, I'm just playing them.
Yeah.
He goes, you need to listen to the originals. And I always thought that was pretty cool, so it wasn't
or like CCR, where they talked about it wasn't that they grew up in that, but the idea of being down in the South, right? It was a dreamy vision of what it was, and most of what they wrote was about that dreamy vision, not trying to act like they were there, but it was their interpretation of what it was like to be there as they saw it, right? Like this aspirational thing that you went back and things were a certain way. They didn't try to go, no, we're authentically blues. No, we're not. We're from California, for fuck's sake.
Well, actually, now, let me clear my throat properly. Actually, now that we've lived here in North Florida for 3 years, we've certainly got the humid, hot as hell summer blues down.
The sweaty, nasty,
sweaty, nasty blues.
Sleep all day and get out on the porch at night.
Hope to hell there's a breeze.
All right. we only have two more, folks.
All right.
But
Only.
they are beautiful pieces,
More
and
flute.
Now
Under
we
the
get to the flute.
Bridge. Yes, I wanted to make sure we got some flute in here because it's a beautiful sound and it's a great instrument to look at. Now, Mike, I think you have more than one flute. One of them it's a bass flute, and what else? What other types do you have?
I have several. I have several sitting here. If you want to, after this song, I'll go
Okay.
through a few of them,
Well,
including
maybe you
the
can
one
tell
I'm
us
playing
which
there.
one. Okay.
Come on,
This
Mike.
one is
Show
a-
us your
This
flutes.
one is, this one's interesting. It is a Dorian scale.
Well, hold on. If you're going to show it, I need to make you big again.
No, he said after the music.
Okay, afterwards. So this one, I like Dorian.
Yeah, this is a Dorian scale.
And, that's right. I'm hitting the wrong key again. There we go. One of these days, I might get mediocre at this. Let's go.
Practice.
Whoa. That was an ending.
Short but sweet.
So I'm going to enlarge you now so you can show away. But it's beautiful, beautiful stuff. Joe, there we go.
There we go. Oh, yeah, this is the B Dorian. It's made, we've been talking about the spirit of the music. There's something, especially with this instrument, that said that something to be said for the spirit of the maker. This guy can be, he calls himself the flute wizard. But Kyle is on Etsy, is where his little shop is, and he's been doing this for years. I found him looking for odd scaled flutes because most of them are pentatonic, basically, major, minor, but, finding something. And he does this, I forget what he calls it, but special burn on the holes. And, this one's a bamboo flute. He does a lot of bamboo flutes. So it's very interesting. But what blew me away about this guy was, so I bought a couple of flutes off of him. Next thing I know, I'm getting a video sent to my email from him, like thoroughly going over the instrument, what everything is made out of, what he did, how to play it, what scales you can play with it. I mean, like, 20-minute video. Who does that?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. So, but it's a beautiful sounding little flute. So yeah, I love the Dorian scale too. But a lot of your flutes are bass, although, I mean, if you get really good, you can play other scales. This one is a 5-hole flute made by another guy that's made flutes for a long time. He is on Etsy. He also has his own shop, Blue Bear Flutes. I always if you watch my flute videos or any of my videos, I usually put links down below to who made the flute and where you can get it. So, but the 5-hole is basically a pentatonic. This one's also in B, but a lot of flutes, let me grab the one you were talking about is a D, or this was a D minor flute. This is a bass flute. The bigger the flute, the deeper. But a lot of flutes, this one come from High Spirits Flutes. He puts his little thing on the back. There you can even see D minor. But they'll come with a cover over, if I hold this right, over this hole.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can play, when you're starting out, you can just play a pentatonic scale minus. Boy, I'm not very good with looking in the camera. I'm going to have to back up, but you'll hear how deep this one is. But you notice that finger's covered.
Oh.
But that's just to get a pentatonic scale. Now, eventually you can do other scales. I messed that up already, but so advanced scales, but that's how they're designed. Now, in that one video, I got 2 more here. We can't go through them all. This guy sells on pretty much Facebook. His name's Harold, but it's For Him Flutes. If you ever want to look it up or watch one of my videos. This one's in D, but this is a harmony drone flute. You'll notice 3 holes stopped up, but you can take them out. But it's called a drone flute. So
Right.
You're playing on one side and then the other is just a drone. But the harmony drone, you can start to remove these plugs and get a totally different sound. Maybe. That one's a little weird for me, but I like.
What are the the 2 white items? Are those reeds?
This here?
Yes.
No, they're not. They don't have a reed. It just comes through an air hole and right through that there. This basically blocks off the air and gives the sound.
Okay.
I'm not a flute maker, so I don't know all the technical terms.
I am not either.
It basically divides the airstream, which creates a vibration of the air molecules in that region, and then the rest of the body of the flute amplifies it.
What are they made of? Those 2 white.
It's wood.
Oh, okay. All
They
right.
just use different woods for ornamentation.
Okay.
Shoot, I didn't bring any out. I got some that have like animal totems.
Nice.
Yeah, I had one. The guy from Blue Bear Flutes that made this one. When I first saw his site, I asked him, because I have a big 100-year-old oak tree outside, and I kind of wanted to honor it. Oak flutes are not real common, so I asked him, "Can you make me an oak flute?" And he did. And I noticed he also made totems. So I got an oak flute with a cat on it. So, but so that's
Very
what I
cool.
think I got a video out there of me playing it with that. But the interesting thing on the Harmony drone is you can actually play the other side. So
Right.
the guy, yeah, I've had a few actually. Get this. I've had a few of them actually made for me. And Kyle from the Flute Wizard, I asked him because he does all these scales. I'm real fond of the harmonic minor scale. So I'd already bought a C sharp off of him. And like I said, he's big on the bamboo, but I told him, I said, I wanted these flutes, but I'm not rich. So he actually made this one out of pine. This is a pine, and it's a E minor harmonic minor flute. So there's no covering up the holes, but it has a very different which really challenges my arthritis. But
That has a wonderfully clear tone.
Yeah.
oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's absolutely. Yeah, he did a knockout job on this. Well, he made me I don't have it out here. That's but he also, I had to make this one, and he made a minor. I said, I want an A minor and an E minor, and he made the A minor out of a sunflower stalk.
What?
It is yeah, let me get it. You got to see this.
You might as well get it.
Exactly. Since you were up.
Well, while he's getting the flute, I want people to know that I do have links to Mike Gourley's different sites, and especially his YouTube channel down there. I'd like for people to visit those links, and especially if you go to his YouTube channel, you can play some videos there and even ask questions in the comments. He's really underrepresented on YouTube, and it would be great if people go there and pay him a visit and leave comments directly for Mike, so that you know,
Yeah, I'm
he can
usually
answer your
good about
questions
getting back to
directly.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this wacky thing.
That's crazy. That's a sunflower stalk?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And this is the root.
Right.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Unreal. Yeah. He, like I said, yeah, he does a lot of bamboo because bamboo is pretty cheap. So that was one of the things that I liked. I got, could get some flutes and not spend $1 million. And, but yeah, I spent $2 million on this. No, I didn't know. I'll let
That
my
is
wife
very-
do that.
Very unique. Wow.
Yeah, it is. It's unreal. So he's a good guy. Yeah, and like I said, yeah, he well, when he did these for me, he was sending me videos of him making them. So yeah, you just don't get that from a lot of other people, and he has a real good heart and good vibe and all that. So
I believe it.
So,
yeah. And that's kind of, that's where I go with, like, that's why I said I kind of got into doing a lot of improvisation and things of that nature, and just pretty much playing from the heart. And if it turns out really good, then good. And if it don't, well, it sits in with the other 300.
Yeah.
Well, folks, we're going to do one final piece with Mike here. And
it's
gonna
with
call
the E minor harmonic flute, I do believe. Yes.
there we go. Before the Dawn. So I'm going to call that up, and then this is a flute you already demonstrated for us.
Yes, it's the white pine E minor harmonic flute.
Right. E harmonic minor. Here we
E
go.
harmonic minor.
All right.
I wanted that to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel that way sometimes, or a lot of times when I hear the music. And I'm encouraged Mike to put like some pieces into playlists so that people could just play them and just, meditate or zone out or whatever you like to do, relax and just let them play.
I will be working on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna need the extended edition director's cut of that last one. I think. Yeah, it's a.
Oh yeah, it's a very beautiful sounding instrument, and it was lovely playing, and especially in something like that slows down the listener's perception. You could definitely stretch that out longer, and people will go with you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I will consider that. I'm also, I don't know how long it'll take me, but I'm trying to put something else together. It's hard sometimes to because we've had this discussion with all the streaming platforms. Nobody buys music anymore, so
No.
I have some stuff on Bandcamp, and I sell 5 or 6 or 7 or something, and it's like, well, should I keep doing this? I don't know, but I keep doing it because I love doing it. But
yeah, we're moving towards a donation and membership sort of economy with the arts, and selling physical media is just sort of a luxury at this point.
Well, I've had it on there. I don't know what I have it on now. I can't remember. I've had it for where I had a dollar amount. I've had it where name your price, and then I go, well, but if I put name your price, maybe they're confused and they don't know what to do. So it's very
it's
weird.
becoming more common.
Yeah.
One of the things is also.
Well, but
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the hard thing with StreamYard. It's easy to talk over each other. One of the other things is also traffic. And, the music industry has changed a lot, but one thing that hasn't changed is just kind of like a pretty good hold on the channels and the avenues by which people encounter music. Like you said, there's so much more music availability out there, and amongst
Yeah.
it is a lot of wonderful music. You just have to search for it. And unfortunately, people aren't necessarily accustomed to that, or I
It's
don't
sort
know.
of a virtual word of mouth now,
There's
where people share it digitally or through
Yeah.
messaging.
And I'm real good at promoting everyone but myself.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I
know.
just suck at promoting self-promotion. I feel like I'm bugging people or something. I know other
I
people,
know.
man, they're constantly all over
Artist-
their Facebook, everywhere. And
Artists are the worst agents you could imagine. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
I just want to remind you of an old Southern term. It's a poor dog that can't wag his own tail.
Guilty.
Yeah, absolutely. And I must bug people more. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, set up a Patreon because I mean,
I
if
have
nothing
a
else-
Patreon.
Well, direct
Links in the
people to
description.
it instead of just going, if I build it, they will come. No, they won't. They don't know how the hell to get there. You ain't give them directions.
Well,
I have it in the
I put all
description.
every one of my videos, there's a link, and I think Patreon's on it.
Excellent. Now mention it.
Okay, yeah.
Hey,
Talk more about
everyone, when you watch my videos, pay attention to the description. There are links in there. You can go to my Patreon, I will say, part of the reason I started it was I used to write a lot of hiking blogs, and I did a lot of off-trail hiking,
Mhm.
especially in the Smokies, where there's chimneys and cemeteries and artifacts. And we quit. Me and a lot of people that were doing the same thing kind of pulled all those blogs off social media because people would go steal stuff or take wildflowers or whatever. So I started Patreon so I could little by little put all my blogs there. So because I figured, well, if you got to pay for it, most thieves aren't going to bother to pay. But there is a ton of music on there as well, and videos that are not on YouTube, because I want to give people something for their money. And usually I also do MP3s links downloadable for the videos. So there you go.
Yep.
But I am on Patreon. Look up Mike Gourley, and I'm on Bandcamp, and I have a CD. It's called Sacred Waters of the Smoky Mountains, and it's a lot of flute, a whole lot of flute playing, and where I have recorded waterfalls and streams in the smoke. So the whole CD basically has waterfall backgrounds and stuff. So that's on my
Sounds
Bandcamp.
delicious.
Yeah.
And the links are in the description of this video, folks. So you can find Mike's Patreon there,
Yay.
as well as Bandcamp, and it's all together in a subheading that says Mike Gourley's links. So,
There you go.
I can find that.
You want to buy it.
Yes. You are feeling very
Feeling
spendy.
very generous tonight.
Yes. Your wallet, it is opening to me like a
All
flower.
of a sudden, all of a sudden, all your viewers are disappearing.
Yes, right. Must buy.
We knew there was going to be something at the end of this.
well,
And if
Then
nothing
they-
else, subscribe to the YouTube, because that doesn't cost a thing.
and
Thank you.
Watch the videos, listen to them,
And share
when
it
he has
with your
those
friends.
playlists. You can just let it play. And but Mike's great. You can leave comments asking questions, and he does respond very quickly. And it's a great way to communicate with him, and helps the videos get seen by more people.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, here's the new T-shirt from the Wayfarer Project.
Oh, my Lord.
With a design by my
With a
wife,
cat.
Psyche Opera.
Calico, I love it.
That's
Oh,
that's
man.
actually our cat. That's
Oh.
one of our cats. That's
What's
Inga.
her name?
Inga.
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 Oh, I'm in love.
And it's high frequency creature, because she is a high frequency creature. All cats are.
Mhm.
They're highly evolved.
Yeah, Psyche
And
just
there's
did
the
a
back.
little logo for us over on B-Sides, and we love it.
Oh, it was great.
So
Yeah,
anyway, there's a little something for anybody that wants to help support the Wayfarer Project. I am also not a very good self-promoter, but there we go. Now that that's done, are there any final questions for Mike?
I'm trying to soak it all in. I'm so impressed, Mike. Congratulations on your journey, and thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, I think it's just more the stories he told and the the learning, picking up at a late age and going, yeah, I'm gonna try all these other things, sure, and it definitely has been delivering. So kudos to him for the results.
Yeah, as I think we all are sort of autodidactic. Really respect the work you're doing, Mike.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, you're never too old. What is old anyway? I feel old a lot of the times, but
Yeah, I could give you a list if you'd like, Maria.
right.
the mornings are rough.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I don't know about all these rules. Like, about a year and a half ago, I started growing my hair back. I'm like, that's what I was. That's me.
yeah.
After I grew it out, I was like, that's me. So
There you
be
go.
true to yourself.
Yeah, might as well. And finally,
And
we'll
cats
just
can understand every word you say.
They do.
My wife thinks I'm crazy. I tell her, them cats understand everything you say.
That's why I don't trust them.
Well, you got to
Glad they
watch
don't
your
have
back.
thumbs.
Yeah, they had opposable thumbs. I'd be moving.
I'm very sarcastic and edgy with one of our cats, and he soaks it up like a sponge. He will
Mhm.
not get off my lap when I'm talking smack to him. He loves it.
There you
He
go.
loves negative attention.
Oh man. But anyway, yeah. By the way, the t-shirts are in multiple colors if you follow the links in the description.
Great job, Psyche.
Finally, next week.
My
Dun dun dun.
wheelhouse.
Well, we will be talking about sound. But more than just that. I mean, this film is probably the 800-pound gorilla of electronic music, vintage electronic music in film.
I am so excited.
Not,
Oh my
not
gosh.
just music, but also the sound design and everything.
Yes.
And so I thought this should be a whole episode in and of itself. A phenomenal film, and just the inventiveness in the sound design and how it just worked, even though people were hearing a lot of these sounds for the very first time. Well, they were also seeing things, in
There's a full
science fiction
multimedia experience of,
imagination.
oh my God, the future is here.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
visuals, the story, the music, the sound design. This is a winner, folks. Do not miss this episode.
We will probably only be able to do sound design. The music we can talk about, but it'll be hard to play on YouTube, I have a feeling.
Oh yes.
And
Well,
so,
I shall endeavor to clear us some clips.
oh, wow. That
And,
would be so wonderful.
Oh, I'm utterly inspired by this film. So yeah, this is right in my dugout here.
All right. So, yeah, we'll coordinate that, via email behind the scenes. And basically, I could probably put together some of the sound design clips and add them whatever you want to share.
Yeah, I'll find some visual aids for us, whether it's slides or hopefully some clips. I bet we can get away with a little bit, but I'll check them ahead of time so there's no complications.
Yeah, like the organic life in the kind of alien pond sort of thing.
Well, Well, 1956. I don't know how long the copyrights go on some of that stuff.
100
Well,
years.
It's a matter of renewal. There's an initial 26,
that's true.
28-year period, and then a lot of studios let things fall through the cracks, or studios go out of business. But after that, you can extend it up to 100 years.
I just remember, several years ago, because I still love the old Beverly Hillbillies, and I bought this DVD that had a bunch of Beverly Hillbillies on it, and the shows were uncut. Other than
Buster Scruggs, on the other hand, not so much.
Yes, the song, they had a different theme song opening up for it, and it was just like, wait a minute, what happened to come listen to a story about a man named Jed?
Nope.
But
Don't mess with Granny.
That was the big thing. A lot of times it's the music.
Yeah,
that's why WKRP you'll never hear original again because of all the music. It was only licensed to be live.
Northern Exposure was that way too, I think.
Yeah, limited rights.
Yep.
But now I'm going to have to check out this movie if I can before then.
Mm.
I'm not sure if I've seen it.
It's a classic for a good
It's
reason.
Leslie Nielsen. Oh my God!
Yes, it is.
And Francis is no joke either.
Oh,
yeah.
She's lovely.
And I love how at the top it just says, amazing.
I love that Robbie the Robot gets his own credit.
Yep.
In fact, we could say that right here. How about amazing?
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, for our audience, those of you who stuck it out with us, thank you very much for being with us. And those
thank
hearing
you,
it on
Mike.
the rewind,
Thank you
please
thank you
check
all.
out the description and get to know Mike Gourley's music and him.
Absolute pleasure, Mike.
Thank you for
so
having
much.
me.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
all
It
for
was a real
hanging out.
pleasure.
All right. Good night, audience.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Y'all come back now, you hear?
Y'all come back now, you hear?
Here comes the